Today I'm going to talk about real quickly how you can create a double exposure effect using Photopea or Photopea.com. I'm in the program right now and I'm going to open two images. Yesterday I quickly took some pictures exploring some different self-portrait options that I had. I shot a picture of myself against a light background. Now this is going to work totally differently if you shoot against a dark background. The way that this interacts, the way that the top layer or the different images interact with each other changes depending on the tone of the picture that you're using. So you're going to have to experiment with this. Now I'm going to open up another picture that I took. This is a photograph of a drawing that I've been working on. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up. What you're going to see is that you have two tabs right now opened up, two different images. So I'm going to go with the image that I want to layer on top, and I'm going to take it by going to this background layer in Photopea and dragging it over to the other image. Now, using the move tool, which is the little arrow, I can move this around and get it situated where it lines up on top of the photograph. So you can see I have two layers now on this single document. If I hit this little eyeball, it disables the layer so that you don't see it, you just see what's behind it. If I take the opacity down on that layer, you can see how these two images start to merge. Now, this is one option for doing it where you start playing with the opacities of the layer, getting this layered image effect. Another way you can do it, though, is going to the layers palette and choosing a transparency option. Now, this inherently is different, and you can hit the down button on your keyboard and you can see how the different transparency options work. They all look a little different. I kind of like this one, this overlay. I like soft light a little bit. Hard light, I lose a little bit too much of myself in there. But this is quite simply the easiest way you can create this effect. Now, there are more ways that you can tweak it once you have something that you're kind of happy with. And the way that you tweak it once you have something you're happy with is you can then go and change the opacity, or on the bottom of the layers palette, there is this button that says Add Raster Mask. If I click on it, it creates this document that exists on top of the layer. And what it's asking you to do is either paint black with the paintbrush or white. Black will eliminate a layer. So if I choose the paintbrush tool and I change the size of it to something that's large, and I change the hardness down, I'm going to actually make it a little bit bigger. You can see that I can erase part of this top layer. What it's doing is not actually erasing the layer. What it's doing is it's hiding it. It's creating a mask. Now, if I switch between white and black and I paint again on the layer mask, it will bring that layer back. Now, playing with the paintbrush tool, you have a lot of options to kind of tweak what this looks like. One of the options is obviously you have size and hardness. And the other option you have is opacity and flow. So I can turn this down so that it masks. So I have to change this to black. I'm on the mask. So it will mask the layer, revealing a little bit more of my face or a little bit more of the scene. And I can kind of paint out the top layer. And then I can go back and tweak. Maybe I want to change again because now I've revealed a little bit more. I can change the transparency option and find something that works. I'm liking this. I like that I'm sort of fading into that image. The last thing I'm going to do is explore crops. I think that compositionally I've done a terrible job with this because I'm just centered in the picture. I think it's going to be a lot more interesting if I come in here and I crop some things. So I'm going to crop this tool. I think this is a much more successful picture compositionally. When I'm done, I'm going to save this twice. I'm going to save it as a PSD. This is a Photoshop file, so this will actually open in Adobe Photoshop, but it's going to retain all this layer information. So I'm going to call this self-portrait 2. And then I'm going to also save it as, or export it as a JPEG. Now a JPEG merges everything together. I'm going to go quality 100. I'm going to hit save, and I'm going to call it self-portrait. Okay. It merges everything. Now this is a non-editable image when I'm done with it, but it can be shared. People can look at it. You can work with it in different programs. You can turn it in on Google Classroom and I can see it. The Photoshop version, you can't. The PSD version of this is an editable document that you can reopen in Photopea, or you can edit it in Adobe Photoshop, but it's not viewable outside of those programs. So that's it. I'm going to stop sharing.